Hello Scorpio, and welcome to your Lunar Cycle Insight video for the cycle beginning on the 9th of September with the Virgo New Moon and coming to completion as we move towards the dark moon in preparation for the new moon in Libra on the 8th of October. So we start the month continuing with the grounded energy of Virgo, of a trine between the earth signs, between Mercury and Virgo, Saturn in Capricorn and Uranus in Taurus as we head towards this new moon. And we are all collectively being called to integrate, to ground, to bring into tangible reality all of the visions, all of the downloads, all of the wisdom that we receive during the summer. So we start the month with this kind of, the lunar cycle, with this kind of slower, steadier pace. And for you, Scorpio, these energies are culminating in your 11th house, the house that is associated with Aquarius, with the collective consciousness, with our individual purpose and our big dreams and goals and visions. So this is a beautiful energy for all, a beautiful house for all of these energies to be coming together in, because this new moon gives you the opportunity to set your intentions, to bring forward that which you wish to manifest in your future. So this energy will be really encouraging you to purify your life, to purify your surroundings, to create a clear container for your dreams to manifest into. You will be being called to hold a pristine energy space in order for your visions to manifest. So you may find yourself needing to reorganize, needing to restructure, needing to redefine your visions. You know, you may be needing to really rethink your schedule and think how you can take the small day-to-day steps needed in order to bring these things that you're hoping and envisioning into manifestation. You may be also receiving some tangible results and some rewards, almost like a harvest period, as this grand earth trine forms between these houses. Perhaps there'll be some opportunities, some connections coming to you through other people that are going to support the building of these inspirations. Or, you know, perhaps you are also anchoring things that you've already brought into being deeper into reality. Perhaps there is some recalibrating that's happening around things that are already in process to make them more streamlined, to make them more productive. With this moon being opposed by Neptune in Pisces, in your 5th house of joy and pleasure and fun, it's reminding you not to get too caught up in the seriousness, you know, in the organizing and the planning and the plotting, but to remember, you know, to cultivate that energy of joy within you so that your creative juices and your connection to the inner feminine can still flow, you know, so you're still receptive and open to new insights and new inspirations and creative ways of doing things that really align with your authentic self to flow through as well. So we really need to kind of strike that balance between having a solid container but also giving ourselves room to move and flow. Because this moon is so much about boundaries and discernment as well, Scorpio, you may find that you are having to draw some clear boundaries with people in your life. Perhaps, you know, you've got a dream that you're working towards and you need to focus all of your energy on that, but you're still finding that people are, you know, wanting your time and energy. You know, perhaps some people, we might have to say, no, I can't do that today. I am, you know, creating a business plan, or I'm working on this offering that I'm about to put out into the world. So we really need to be focusing on our priorities as well. So also on the 9th of September, as the new moon rises, Venus, the love goddess, will move into your sign, where she will be spending a good portion of her retrograde journey when she stations there at 10 degrees later in the lunar cycle on the 5th of October. So you may have been noticing the Venusian themes rising up in your life since Venus entered her shadow period on the 2nd of September in Libra in your 12th house. So this is going to be a deep journey for all of us around honouring our emotions, honouring our vulnerabilities, reintegrating our shadow side, because Venus in Scorpio is the dark feminine. It's the aspects of the feminine that have been repressed in our culture, that have been demonized, that have been vilified. You know, Venus in Scorpio is very much associated with the energy of the witch, of the seductress, and Libra is the opposite. You know, Libra is very much associated with the people pleaser, or the good girl, or the good wife. So this can be a time for all of us when we are really learning to look at how these two archetypes play out in our lives. But for you, Scorpio, with this happening in your sign and in your first house, this can really be a time of you learning how to integrate these aspects, all of the lost fragments of yourself that you may have let go of, that you may have suppressed or buried or denied. They're all going to come up out of hiding to be welcomed, to be loved, to be looked at. Of course, being in your sign, this Venus retrograde will have a deep, deep impact on you and your relationships. And we know that you're a sign, Scorpio, who is all or nothing. So wherever Scorpio is, we don't tolerate superficiality. So for you, this can be really a time of needing to go deep in your connections with others. You know, this can be a time where you might be exposing your vulnerabilities, or you might realize that your relationships aren't meeting your deepest needs. You might need to work through some healing around old wounds connected with love, connected with sexuality, connected with owning and honouring every aspect of yourself. So relationships will be a powerful mirror for you during this retrograde period, which is going to be, you know, taking us right through nearly up until the end of the year, with Venus stationing on the 16th of November and then taking a few weeks to get out of her shadow period. So all of these Venusian themes, romance, love, self-worth, resources, are all going to be very prevalent for you from this time onwards, Scorpio. And Venus, as she undertakes her journey to meet her shadow self, as she takes Inanna's journey into the underworld to meet Ereshkigal, the shadow sister, she will be opposing Uranus in Taurus in your 7th house of partnership. So this can be a time of unexpected events happening, coming through the medium of your partnerships and through other people. So unexpected breakthroughs, unexpected breakdowns, you know, relationships ending, or perhaps people from the past coming back for you to work out your karma with, you know, old stuff coming up for healing. So this can be a time of, you know, deep recalibration in the way you relate to others and the way you relate to yourself. So take note of what is happening for you in these areas, Scorpio, and know that they're going to intensify towards the end of this lunar cycle, and most definitely be very dominant throughout the coming lunar cycle in Libra that begins next month as well. So as we reach the equinox point, which will fall on the 23rd of September this year, that's the day that the Sun is going to move into Libra, and this means that the Sun and Mercury are going to enter your 12th house. So the month before our birthday month, the Soul Star always transits the final house of our birth chart, the house of dissolution, the house of washing away old karmic baggage. And this can be a time where we kind of turn within, we, retreat and we reflect on the previous 12 months and what we achieved or didn't achieve. This is why some people can find the energy quite heavy around their birthdays. So this is a time of psychic cleansing. You may feel the need to kind of spend more time alone in meditation, more time connecting with your higher guidance, as you clear out the old and make way for rebirth when the Sun does enter your sign next month on the 23rd of October. So the Sun and Mercury will be opposing Chiron in your 6th house, and the full moon in Aries, which is just days after the equinox, obviously the autumn equinox for us here in the northern hemisphere, and the spring equinox for you guys in the southern hemisphere, will be taking place in your 6th house, because the full moon is going to be conjunct to Chiron, the wounded healer. And Chiron moved into Aries, into your 6th house, the 17th of April this year. So he has been calling you to heal your own deepest wounds so that you can become the healer, so that you can become the shaman. This is the transit of the medicine man or the medicine woman. Perhaps you have been experiencing some kind of health crisis or some kind of crisis in your day-to-day routines and areas of work that have forced you to take a different pathway, that have forced you to find who you truly are. This is the core wound for us all that we're working with collectively with Chiron and Aries, is the wound of identity, the wound of who I am. And also, deep woundings around the masculine side of us and the masculine in our outer world as well. So the wounded warrior within is very prevalent during the equinox point and the full moon. So we may be having to look at, issues of deep soul healing around this moon for you, Scorpio. And it's going to be square to Capricorn and Saturn in your 3rd house. So this can be a time for you, Scorpio, when you may realize just how much you restrict yourself from sharing and speaking your emotions, just how that famous scorpionic self-discipline and self-containment can really often create problems in your connections and relationships with others, and also how the emotions that you do not allow yourself to express can then create disharmony and dis-ease in the body as well. So this can be a moon of, deep purification and emotional release. Perhaps some of you may need to reintegrate and rebalance the masculine and feminine within, with Venus, in her shadow, and Chiron in Aries, the wounded divine masculine, being so highlighted as we move through the end of this month. Perhaps, you need to create that inner alchemy to create physical well-being, or to be more productive in your day-to-day life and reality. So it can be a time of great catharsis and great healing as we approach that Aries full moon on the 25th. So Venus is going to officially station on the 5th of October. So that will be really, the beginning of that deep soul dive for you. and she's going to be in square to Mars, who is your ancient ruler, and that's going to be exact the week after the new moon in Virgo, so you know, the 12th to the 18th. Mars is going to be moving back into Aquarius on the 10th, and he's going to be squaring Venus shortly after that in your 4th house as well. So we might see some issues around home and family arising. Perhaps you're just coming to completion around these issues, and there's just a few more things that need to be worked out, because Mars has been retrograding throughout your 4th and 3rd house, you know, crossing over that IC cusp throughout the summer. So this can be a time where there may just be a few more things to work out as he crosses that threshold for the final time, and you know, comes into square with Uranus and comes into square with Venus, and conjuncts the node and conjuncts Lilith again. So we can find, you know, perhaps there are also some deep-seated karmic and ancestral emotional healing work that needs to be done as well throughout this month. You know, clearing up those final loose ends. And for those of you who, you know, physically moving house or redesigning your property, or you know, have just felt called to have a change around, this can bring completion to those issues, as well as Mars, you know, crosses back into the 4th house and completes his journey. So we're going to close this lunar cycle with the Libra New Moon that will fall again in your 12th house, Scorpio. So this can be a time of setting your intention to rebalance any toxic relationship issues that may have been rising up. This can be a time when you can really start to work on clearing those. But it's going to be a very interesting lunation, because the new moon is going to be in square to Pluto, of course, is very much also associated with the scorpionic frequency, being its modern ruler. So this is really going to activate, as Venus, you know, is just stationing in your sign. This is really going to activate that polarity between Libra, the Libra and Scorpio frequencies, that those energies of, you know, being nice, people pleasing, stuffing down our emotions, and the energies of Scorpio, you know, that expression, that deep feeling, that facing the shadow and allowing yourself to be really truly seen as you are. So for all of us, you know, after the equinox point, particularly in this lunar cycle, we're going to be working with the energies of relationship, of seeing the self through the other. And, you know, after the Venus retrograde is complete, Scorpio, perhaps you will have completely rebirthed yourself. Perhaps you'll be a completely different person. You know, the goddess within you, the divine feminine within you, is undergoing a deep, deep transformation. So the more we can work to heal those old wounds, the more you will move into your sovereignty and power as the cycle completes. So I've picked a card for you. And interestingly, because the full moon's going to be in your 6th house of health and well-being, and of course we've got all of these Virgo energies going on at the moment, which can really show us where we are leaking energy, not taking care of our body in the way that we should. The card is Solace, illness, wellness. So that is a message for you about taking care of your physical body and taking care of any emotional problems, embracing any repressed emotions as they rise before they can create illness and disharmony in the physical. But also, when I'm thinking of Solace, I'm thinking of her story and how she felt betrayed, particularly by the masculine, which in this case was, you know, represented by her father and husband. And so just as I was halfway through interpreting that card, I realised that I was thinking of the wrong goddess, The goddess on this card is Sulis, the goddess of the healing springs and waters, hence the illness, wellness message of the card. But the goddess I was thinking of was Sedna, who was an Inuit goddess whose story is one of betrayal and movement from victimhood to power. So I really feel like, because I picked the wrong goddess, that message is really important as well, because I was thinking of the word betrayal, and we know that is one of the deepest fears with Scorpio. If I show who I truly am, what if I am betrayed? You know, what if I'm rejected or abandoned? So I'm just going to keep myself safe by hiding away, and I'm going to do the Scorpio thing of diving into other people's psychology and really getting to know them without letting them get to know me, in case they do eventually hurt me. So maybe there is a message there for you, Scorpio, that some of these issues and feelings that you have around these energies might rise up as we go into the Venus retrograde as well. So maybe there's some deep healing to do around times when you might have felt betrayed in the past, particularly by the inner or outer masculine, you know, the masculine within you and the masculine as a tangible thing in our reality, because of all the Chiron and Aries energy that's rising as well at this time. So perhaps we can see the connection there between the emotions and the physical well-being as well. So I'm going to leave you with that little message, and thank you so much for listening to me. If you want to connect with me further, there are some links below this video to my Facebook pages and groups. I'm sending you so much love, Scorpio, and so many blessings for this deep journey you'll be undertaking with Venus retrograde in your sign.